Playground Podcast.
Today we've got Danny. I love you so much, Danny Elfman. It's been a while since we caught up. I call you the mad scientist of music.
Thank you.
You're part of pretty much everything in our lives. The soundtrack to everything, composer, frontman. I mean, it's hard to put. You can't really put you in a category. How are you?
Doing good. Busy, crazy,
Yeah.
as always.
You got a lot going on.
Yeah, I just got home from Bogota, Colombia, a day ago from finishing the 8th video that we're doing for this new album.
Excellent. A lot of travel.
Yeah.
You know, when you look back on the Mystic Knights, it's almost like you had composing hidden in your DNA before you even knew that you were going to be composing. Do you feel like maybe Boingo was a good way to train better than any music school?
Boingo was kind of a pause in that training. Oddly enough, the Mystic Knights, I was actually starting to write compositions and taught myself to write music because I had to, we did a lot of weird old jazz and I had to teach myself to notate and how to write it down. And, so that 7 years of training served me later. But then when I got on Oingo Boingo, started a band, it's like, all that work I did for the last 7 years was a waste of time because you never write music for a band. You just pick up a guitar and you start playing. And then 7, 8 years later, when I got hired to do Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and it's like, I had to remember, what did I used to do in the Mystic Knights when I was writing it all down and taught myself to notate and do stuff. And I had to kind of remember what I had been teaching myself in those years so I could start fresh with Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So Mystic Knights and the film scoring do kind of connect in a weird way. And the Oingo Boingo years was a pause in that where it was like, nope, didn't need that after all. And then finally, oh, yes, I did. So it's just constant surprises in my life.
Yeah, I think last time we talked, you brought up Pee-wee's, and you kind of felt like Warner Brothers may even just toss your
I
score.
was sure they were going to throw it away.
Yeah, and then 4 years later, you're composing, you're scoring Batman. And where in there do you feel like, or did you ever, where you kind of gave up the imposter syndrome and said, you know what, I am good at this?
Ooh, that took a long time, probably like 10 years. So, even up through Batman and onwards, I still was like, I'm learning and teaching myself. And somewhere over that, they say 10,000 hours, that
Yeah.
thing. So somewhere in there, I hit my 10,000 hour mark and I said, you know what? I'm feeling pretty confident finally about what I'm doing.
10,000 times 10,000 times 10,000, I think, for you.
Exactly.
You've talked about too, I think was it the Simpsons theme song? It came to you so quickly.
It was one of those lucky breaks, I think I've done 110 film scores and about 12 or 13 TV themes, but every now and then one just happens. And those are by far the rarity. For a movie, it would be Mars Attacks, where I saw the opening and I heard the entire main theme just instantly in my head. And that was the film version of what I had with The Simpsons, where they showed me a kind of a pencil sketch of the car driving the opening sequence for The Simpsons. And I really heard the music in my head and I wrote it all in the car on the way home. By the time I got home, it was finished. That by far is the exception to the rule. Usually there's a gazillion hours of banging away at something to get there, but you never
Kind of
know.
wrestle it.
Sometimes it just happens, and The Simpsons was one of those.
Is there an alternate universe where where you didn't get to write it down fast enough and the Simpson theme doesn't exist? That would be terrible.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I wrote The Simpsons, I didn't expect anybody would really hear it because I said, this is going to play 3-4 episodes and get canceled. But I wanted to do it just for fun. And I really liked Matt Groening and, it just seemed like a fun thing to do. But I never expected it to last, leastwise 1 year, leastwise 35 years or whatever it's been.
The Tim Burton movies, the early movies, it was maybe easier because nobody really knew what they were supposed to sound like.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was no model of what Pee-wee or Beetlejuice or Batman or Edward Scissorhands or
Right.
Nightmare. Like there was just no model to turn to and go like this. It was all like just starting with nothing, which now in hindsight, I realized what a luxury that was. It was so great
Yeah.
just to have no temp music to listen to, no model, no style, because, what should Pee Wee sound like? Who knows? Beetlejuice, like, what's the model? Who knows? Batman at that point, really the only real superhero we had at that moment was Superman. And we knew I loved John Williams, but we did not want it to sound like Superman. So it was just kind of starting from the ground up. And certainly with Nightmare Before Christmas, when we started doing that, all we knew is that we didn't want it to sound like a musical, the
Yeah.
music to sound like a musical. What we did want it to sound like, had no idea. But it was just starting from scratch in this crazy way where, Tim and I started working before there was even a script, and just he would tell me the story and I would write songs, and he was just like the storyteller. He'd come over and, well, so now this happens. And so we had no idea how to do a musical. And so we just kind of invented our own way of doing it.
A musical by not doing a musical.
Exactly. A musical that doesn't sound like any musical at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I think having fewer rules it kind of contributed to the timelessness
Oh,
of all
well,
of these.
hopefully, yeah. I mean, having no rules and no models, I wish it was like that all the time. But,
Yeah.
now I look back and go, those were just like golden days for me.
Do you think young people have enough opportunity for things like this, those that are aspiring to do exactly what you're doing?
It's harder now than it was then because,
Mhm.
now more films tend to really want to put temp music and preview. And I understand that if you're going to preview a movie with an audience, you have to put some kind of score in there. And I think frequently the directors will get attached to those. And it's hard to kind of pry them away from what they've been hearing for months and months and months. Understandably, they're getting used to it. But yeah, there's still every year there's something comes along that just sounds like different and create wild and like where did that come from? So it's not a lot. I think most movie soundtracks to me sound very generic. But then there's always, and just at the point where I'm going, it's all just sounding so generic. Then this film or that film or another comes along that makes you go, oh my God, wow, where did that
Yeah.
come from? That's great. So I think the great stuff and the original stuff is always going to happen, and it's going to happen from some odd place or another. And then everybody will gravitate to that, and that'll become like, a model for other composers. So it still continues on in the same way that it did.
Are you still into horror flicks? I know you and Tim Burton are both heavy into.
Well, that's when we bonded when we first met. We grew up, both of us, on monster movies, horror films,
Mhm.
a lot of the same stuff, the Roger Corman films, the Hammer horror films from England.
Yeah.
When I met Tim, his idol was Vincent Price and mine was Peter Lorre.
Yeah.
So
I love
we
it.
had like a kind of a bonding over that.
I have to go revisit what's the movie? M.
Oh, yeah, M with Peter
Yeah,
Lorre,
got
fantastic. Before he
yeah.
came to America, that's a famous German film, that's incredible. He was so amazing, and, of course, I remember him my first horror film, I think I was about 7 years old, was called The Beast with Five Fingers, and Peter Lorre, older in life, but fighting with a hand that's trying to kill him all the time, and he's, like, pulling it down, it's trying to choke him, and
Oh my God. Is
I had dreams for the rest of my life of being pursued by, this disembodied hand, and I would my family would be all together or watch, in the living room, and I'd see the hand come, and I'd go, "Mom, Dad," and they'd go, "Oh, just ignore it. If you don't bother it, it won't bother you."
just ignore it.
But I knew it was coming after me, It's like no matter where I went in the room, it was still coming towards me, and I knew it did not mean me anything but harm. So it was like, this is how it all started.
You can make a replica of it and go into your next birthday cake.
Exactly.
Okay, I know that we're getting a little pressed for time. Big Mess, awesome album, and it was right before you were going to take the stage at Coachella. The world shut down. I mean, do you feel like all that energy. That's why we ended up with Big Mess.
Yeah, I mean, I had suddenly this time that I'd set aside for concerts, and I was going to tour Concert Works, and I had Nightmare Before Christmas shows. I had the music of Tim Burton concerts, symphony concerts all over, and I had all these concerts lined up, and like dominoes, they fell boom, 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 and the last one to go was Coachella. We were praying maybe because it was an outdoor show that it would be spared. But
Yeah.
I
Wow.
remember we were in rehearsal. I'm just rehearsing with this new band, and I'm loving it, after so many years being with this band that I'm just so enjoying playing with. And my manager comes and goes, "It's off." And
That's so
but it
disappointing.
happened a couple years later, so it was all fine. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
But in that
frustrating.
pause, I wrote Big Mess, and
Huh?
that was the Pandora's box of which now it's too late to close. So now I'm just finishing my new album, and just finishing my seventh or eighth video for it. So we're
When are
doing
we
it.
looking at that release date for that? What are we looking at?
Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be until the beginning of the year because we're still working on this video film that goes along with it, and it won't be done until probably middle of September. So we missed Halloween this year, sadly.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and they don't like to release these, and Christmas in December.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it's going to be the beginning of the year. But I'm
Well,
hopefully maybe we'll get a single out this year.
I hope so. Yeah, just keep us posted there. And I love that you're bringing it all to the stage. You're bringing the boingo, and you're bringing the orchestra. You're bringing the Big Mess, and I just couldn't be happier as a fan. So
Thank you. I
I
appreciate
love
it.
it so much. Okay, do you mind if we do a really quick rapid fire?
No, of course not.
All right, cool. Okay, boingo song that you would put on right now.
A Boingo song?
Mhm.
God, what is my favorite Boingo song? I don't know what my favorite Boingo song is. I guess when I'm on stage, I still like playing Only a Lad, my first
Mhm.
song ever is a fun one to play. So maybe that.
Go with that. Okay, score you're proudest of that doesn't get enough love.
Luc Besson's Dracula.
Okay.
I really loved writing it, but it just didn't get a lot of traction here in the States, and not a lot of people have seen it. So I hope, check out Luke's Dracula. It's a fun
Dracula.
film, and writing the music was pure heaven. I loved it.
Punk Club or Symphony Hall?
Ooh, can't choose. Those are like two sides of my mind, and no matter which one I say, the other side will scream, "No,
No.
wrong answer." So there's no right answer there. One of my favorite moments in recent years was doing the world premiere of my cello concerto with the Vienna Symphony Orchestra and the French cellist Gautier Capuçon, and 1 week later walking out at Coachella on stage and going, "All right, I love this. This contrast is great."
Yes, I'm so glad that they're together. It's all cohesive now. Thank you so much, Danny. It's been such a pleasure. I will see you in October. You got a couple of your shows coming up in the Bay Area. Say hello to Yuki for me.
I will.
All right. Awesome. Really good checking in.
Nice seeing. Bye.
Bye-bye. Good to see you.